Go. Alright. What's going on, everybody? It is Wednesday, which means we're tricking today. We're going to go over some transitions. Possibly I'm going to go into... some other moves. And I'll give you guys some basics to throw out of these transitions so that you can practice the different ways to throw it. But before we do anything, we still got to get warmed up and we got to get stretched. You ready, Wiggs? She ready. Alright, so we're going to start off with side shoulder hops. We're going to hit 20 of these. Let's do it. Alright, so now we're going to stretch out our hips. Feet out. Let's go crabs. Push your arms. Hey, baby. You want to help me stretch? Okay, why don't you show everybody how you stretch? We're going to hit our splits. No. Hit your splits. Baby split. Hey-yow. That's front split. Alright, let's go hamstring. Straighten them legs out. Go over to one side. Like monkeys in a barrel. Go over to the other side. And go back to the middle. And relax. All right. So I'm going to run through these as quickly as possible. And I'll give you, at least for the start, we'll just do a normal swing. So we're going to work on a pivot swing with like a half a rotation, just so that as we start to add these transitions, you can practice this takeoff. What move you do out of it is completely up to you and your skill set. So you can throw gainers, corks, swing nines, illusion, shurikens, whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. Anything that's a one-legged takeoff, you're going to be able to hit out of most of these. And some of them will have two-legged options, which we'll go over that as well. So we're going to start off with just a pivot. This is my pivot. I turn around with my power leg behind me. So for me, it's my right leg. So I'm going to start looking to my left. I'm going to turn around, make sure that this leg goes behind me. And I'm just going to swing my knee up to about belt level and give a small rotation. So it'll be here. All right, and this is good for timing. So we'll hit 2 or 3 of these just to get our timing down. And if it feels comfortable, which it should, it's not too difficult, then this is, for the most part, how you're going to practice your transition. So the easiest transition is scoot. Before we do scoot, we're actually going to do spider, which is a cool drill, just because it is the same motion as a lot of these, and it'll help you get the coordination down. So we're going to start feet wide. My left leg goes behind my right leg, and I'm really just going to switch feet. I'm going to go from here to here, just turn around, right? But I'm going to use my hands to stabilize myself. So my right hand goes up, my left hand goes down, both hands go on the floor. Now I'm going to kick my left leg behind and turn around and show you my good side. Now, once you feel comfortable with that, you're going to start to do a couple in a row. But I want to go the same direction, so that means after I land, my hands are going to turn around. So I'm actually going to do the first one facing away from you, so you can see what I do with my hands once I turn around. So my first one will hit here, then I'll switch my hands, and go again. This is not a handstand or a cartwheel, so you're not trying to kick your feet really high up in the air. And if you kick the wrong foot, tackle. If you kick the wrong foot, then you're going to end up doing a cartwheel instead, or some variation of it. So it's very important that you get the left leg up first. So we're going to try 2 in a row, which will be here. 1, 2. Once you get that motion down, we're going to go one hand at a time. So as my left leg comes up, my left hand goes down. As I switch feet, I will also switch hands. So my hands will end up doing this. So I'm actually going to face this way so you can better see what my hands are doing. And this will be the last part of learning spider. This will get you most of the coordination that you need to hit a lot of these moves. So I'm going, actually sorry, it's the opposite. It's right and left, not left and left. I'm going here. Notice one hand at a time. Switch, 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 switch. Once you can do 5 of those in a row, and you're able to pick up speed and do things like that, then you're ready to start throwing scoop. Easiest way to throw scoop is from your knee. However, once you figure it out, I'm not going to throw it from my knee anymore. I very rarely throw scoop off of my knee for 2 reasons. One, you get a lot more power if you're standing up. Double power from standing up. Second, if I'm throwing scoop in the middle of combos, which is where we're primarily going to use this, then if I have to go down to my knee, it's going to slow down the combo and slow down momentum. So I want my combo to stay going the same speed, so I typically don't put my knee down. All right, so from here, my right leg's up, left leg's down. I'm going to use my left hand to brace, and I'm going to start this from a circle and throw my hand backwards. When I throw it backwards, it's going to hit either in line with my knee or behind it. There are a few times where I will change where my hand goes, depending on what I'm trying to do, but for what we're doing right now, this is where it's going to go. And then I'm simply going to do the same motion I did for the spider with one hand. So my left leg's going to come up first, and I'm trying to bring this knee up to my chest. This leg, I'm going to kick as high as I can kick it behind me. So it's going to go that way, kind of like a scorpion. And my timing is going to be 1, 2. So left, right, not that fast. The biggest thing I'm trying to do is turn around. So if I make sure that I'm turning around and my feet go that fast, it's not going to slow me down. So I'm going to start looking this way. I'm going to finish looking this way. Like that. Okay? The more I turn my shoulders at the beginning, the more rotated I will be when I land. And that part's important. Like I need to land where I want to on purpose. So I'm not going to shoot my scoop and come out, facing backward and try to make up for it by swinging sideways. And I'm not going to over-rotate unless I'm trying to. If I want to land facing that way, when I say land, I mean that's where my foot is when it hits the floor. If you continue rotating afterwards, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about where you're facing when your foot hits the ground. So again, facing that way when I hit. And if you continue through to here, that is okay. Matter of fact, we need that for a lot of the swings we're going to do. But if I under-rotate and land facing backward, that swing taking me sideways does not count as me landing sideways. That's what happened after I landed, right? So let's try, say 5 of them. Go to his arm, get yourself to turn around. Try not to set your right leg down. I'll give you a couple seconds to hit 5 of them. Sorry, do it one more time. Let's go more back. When you go here, you're leaning forward, so you force a pike. You almost want to feel like you're stretching. More back. Yeah, almost like butterfly, like that. That's what it feels like to me, at least. All right, so now all you got to do is add the hop and spin. So after I swing my leg up, it goes slower than it looks. So it's going to feel like you're waiting a while, or it should feel. Because I have to let my leg get in front of the other leg before I jump. So if you try to jump too early, Or if you forget to swing it off, it's going to affect what happens after. So I'm going to control what move I do based on where this leg swings. So I need to be able to swing it in order to, change from swing 9 to cork to shuriken, all that stuff. So we're going to go here, knee up, and then after my knee come up, that's when I jump. Try that a couple times. I just got turned further in the scoop.
God. I don't think I've even thrown back tuck. So.
Game is actually easier. That's better. One little side note, in case you guys heard what I just said, gainer is easier than back tuck. Back tuck, though, is important to learn because of the technique, but for me at least, more importantly, get rid of the fear going upside down. The reason most people don't land back tuck is because they're afraid of it, so they don't throw their arms as hard, they don't finish their set, or they don't jump as high. They're trying to flip early because they're a little bit afraid of not finishing the flip. So they don't really give themselves enough time to do it, or they bail out. All of these things are due to fear, not due to ability. So if you can jump high enough to do it, or rotate fast enough to do it, but you still can't land it, it's fear. And learning back tuck will help you get rid of the fear. Because gainer is scary, because the way it works, it feels like you're not going to get that much power because you're jumping off of one leg. You're having to wait till your leg is up, in front of you, and so you feel like you're in a vulnerable position. But it's actually much easier because instead of just swinging 2 arms, I'm swinging 2 arms and a leg, so it moves much faster, and I get about a quarter of the flip done before I ever leave the ground. So for a gainer, you're rotating 3/4 of the way in the air, where a back tuck, you're doing 100% of that flip all in the air. I can start my flip. It's kind of like doing the difference between like a 900 and a cheat 900. Like a cheat 900, I've done 160 degrees of the turn before I ever go in the air. Where if you do a true 900, you have to jump off of both feet, and you have to finish that entire thing all in the air. So this gainer is kind of like a cheat. So if you guys are working toward gainer, or if you're trying to think of, or if you have back handspring and you want to go to gainer, you can start throwing it out of this setup. Now I might go over that a little bit later, but for right now, we're going to go on to a different setup. Scoot is pretty much the easiest one. So we're going to go into cart kick, which is also an easy one. I don't throw upside down moves out of this. I throw swing 9 really is the only technique that I throw out of this technique. But it is a cool technique to get just because you don't really see it. I don't really see anybody else outside of myself routinely throwing cart kick in combinations. You see a few people throw it here and there, but it's very rare. So anytime you throw it, I normally get a lot of questions after like, wait, what did you do to go into it? Like, I'm confused. Just because you're not used to seeing it. But it's very simple. You act like you're about to throw a cartwheel. So I'm going to my left, because that's the direction I swing. Right, so my left hand is going to swing down like I'm doing a scoot, but standing straight up and down. And my hand cannot go in front of me. That's really the only thing you need to think about for this move. Is if you put your hand down in front of you, like an actual cartwheel, you're probably going to go up like an actual cartwheel. Your hand will get in the way. Because I need to turn around, just like I did for scoot. So I need my hand to get back here and get out of the way, really, so that I can turn. Once my hand gets back here, my right leg will kick up as high as it can go behind me. My hand that's going down is simply going to touch the ground. So I don't put a lot of weight on my hand. Like I don't need to go here. Me touching the ground is more the illusion, just to give it the full look. You can do this move without your hand, right? So I don't need to put my hand down. Putting your hand down is just to make it look like I'm doing more than I actually am. So I'm going to swing this arm down like I'm doing a cartwheel. It's going to go behind me. My right leg is going to come up. I'm going to turn around and land facing the other direction. So exact same motion as a scoot without my left leg going. So one motion, it'll look like this. Wow. That's the 2-footed landing. Try that real quick. Alright, so if you're doing a two-footed landing like that, you're going to practice a pop. So pop 9 or whatever. You can flash kick out of this. I'm not very good at flash kicking out of pop setups. So just backflip in general is not my go-to. So that's why, I mean, I'm not going to demonstrate that. But this motion works really well to bounce in the spin. So like backside 9 and things like that. Try a couple with a rebound. Down. Hey. All right, try one more. Try to stall the spin until you stand up. So it's actually slower than you think. Stand, spin. There you go. That makes you spin just like this. You feel like you know where you are the whole time. All right, now the swing, which is what I'm more likely to do out of this setup. No different than scoot, but it feels, in my opinion, like it has less power. So when I'm normally doing this, I bail out of the move quite often if I'm warming it up. But some of my best swings out of this felt like I wasn't going anywhere. I felt like I had no power, and what it feels like and what is actually happening is not normally the same. So you kind of have to trust that you're going to get enough power, you're going to shoot yourself up high enough. So my right leg's not going to touch the ground this time. Let your left leg bend, by the way, in case you're trying to lock this leg out. Don't do that. You need this leg to bend so that you can get your hand down to the ground easily and you're not leaning too far. Also so that I can jump when I swing. So just like the first drill, I'm gonna swing my knee up towards y'all, then I'm gonna twist, maybe halfway around. So you're not gonna actually try to pull a spin. And a lot of times when I do this, because it puts me a little bit on axis, you might fall. Don't worry about it, just roll out of it. Okay, so maybe I'll try to fall on purpose, we'll see. Maybe I'll just fall on accident, I don't know, we'll see. But this is normally what I look like when I'm warming this move up. It's here. Okay, so I had to fall on purpose because I wasn't going to. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm making sure I get my leg up first and I'm swinging. And me looking backward at the ground is what was supposed to make me fall. But somehow I ended up staying on my feet. But if I look forward, that whole thing will change a little bit. So I'll stay straight up because I'm looking this way. But the first time when I looked this way, that made me lean. So, but like I said, if you fall, that's all I do is I just roll out of it. So don't worry about how you land. You're just trying to get used to bringing this knee up and committing to jumping. Try to go, son. Bend lower, so you're not leaning so far. Yeah, so you want to be like this, so I can touch here. Yeah, because you should be able to throw that without your hand. So my hand, I either use to balance. If I lean too far, you can use it to push up, but more or less it's just for show. So keep all your weight on this leg, and just do your normal pivot with your hand. Swing it up. Make sure you're pulling your chest up. Chest up. Yeah, there it is. It's awkward. You guys can see from Ms. Smith, a lot of these transitions, she's never done before. So you guys are getting to see what it looks like from like ground level. It's not like she's been doing this forever and she's, just trying to break it down for you guys. She's never done this as well, but within 3 attempts, she was able to start to get that motion. What you want to do with that specific transition is you want to drill it over and over and over where you can jump up and look. When I can get to that point, then you start throwing moves out of it. So you start throwing like Peter Pan kick or swing 9, which I guess at this point I can go ahead and go over. Peter Pan kick is the first swing that I teach everybody. It doesn't really look good when I do it anymore, and I attribute a lot of that to fear of it hurting my knees. So I shorten a lot of things. This kick can actually look really cool. And so just so you have something to throw out of this, we'll go basic demonstration. I'm facing at an angle. I'm going to swing my leg in front and hop. So that's the first part. This is going to be counted as like a mini kick. So kick and swing. Once you have that, you're going to click your heels together. You know how to do this, right? So once I have that, I'm going to click my heels together. And it's actually not clicking your heels together, but that's how I think of it. So this is how I teach it. Swing up, click my heels. And once I've got that motion, you actually don't want your body to move forward the way I just did. So try to keep your body here and swing. But once I get my heels together, then I'm gonna turn my hips over and round kick across. So 3 was left. 1, 2, 3. Something along those lines. And so I'm kicking with my right leg twice, going 1, 2, and using my left leg to kind of turn my hips. So I'm going 1, chamber, turn, and kick. All right, so that's what it looks like from static. You do it out of pivot. Try not to fall over Jay. But that gives you a move that you can easily do and practice out of different setups. Once again, I have a lot of trouble throwing this because I'm afraid it's going to hurt my knee. And you saw how far I lean. That's a habit for me, leaning back. And this is a move where you really don't want to lean to throw it. The coolest combos that I've seen with it is people that are not only throwing it straight up and down, but they're throwing it out of difficult setups. So like B-twist and cork, and I cannot remember the tricker that I saw doing this, but the first combo was like hook, B-twist, swing, Peter Pan, hook, touchdown, something. So throwing a clean kick like this in the middle of, out of a B-twist, which is a little bit more difficult to swing out of, made it look cool. And he did it out of cork as well. So it kind of gives you that little speed up in the middle, and it's almost like an illusion. It's like you thought something bigger was going to happen, then he throws that quick little round kick and keeps going, so it adds some style, some swag to it. All right, so as we go through this, we'll try to throw either this swing, or you're going to try to throw Peter Pan kick. I'll do a couple more, and then we're going to try to throw gainer. And we'll only use scoot for gainer. But I'll get you started, so don't be afraid if you cannot backflip. I'm gonna get you started, and that's it, right? And you guys are gonna see what the beginning looks like, because as she said at the beginning, it's a move she's never tried before. She's never done back tuck, she says. I don't 100% remember if she has actually done back tuck.
I think I drilled back tuck, but I always focused on back handspring.
Well, I relate gainer more to back handspring than back tuck anyway, which you do need the power from back tuck, but the motion with your body and your arms and everything is a lot more similar to a back handspring than is a back tuck. All right, so we're gonna go raise and touchdown raise. Now I'm gonna preface this with my actual technique for both of these is pretty garbage. All right, I'm not good at either one of these. I can swing, if you've seen my videos from the past, I can swing out of both setups. I only throw gainer out of raise. Touchdown raise is where I throw swing 9, hyper cork, and gainer of course, and switch gainer. I can throw all of that out of touchdown. Out of raise by itself, I only throw gainer. And the reason being is because the touchdown raise gives you a lot more stability. But we're gonna do raise first. And the first thing that I do is focus on my arms. So I try to go a little bit wider stance, and I'm gonna swing my arms really high and try to get this circle going, right, with my arms. Now, a raise is just a tornado kick setup. It's a cheat setup where your head stays down. So instead of me spinning like this where my head is high, I'm gonna dip my head underneath my hips and let my legs go over. You can do this high, but for me, I can't swing unless I do it low. If I go up too high, the separation of my timing, I'm not 100% sure what I do wrong, but I just know it's not right? All right, so I stay low, and I step a little bit further than my normal cheat setup. So I'm not gonna step close together, I'm gonna step just a little bit, like I'm not gonna stretch it out, right? You'll see when I go full speed, it's only like that, right? Then my left leg is gonna start behind me. So this is step 1, going over the top and lifting that leg up. My upper body is gonna try to match the elevation of my left leg. So very much like a cartwheel or aerial. I don't wanna go head and then leg. This is important for both raise and touchdown. And it's more for timing, because most of you guys, if you go low first, when you go to jump, you're gonna try to lift your chest back up, which is a no-no. Your head has to stay down. So I gotta make sure that my head goes underneath and stays here. Now from my eyes point of view, I'm gonna be looking at the ground the whole time. I'll never lose sight of the ground. That's what it feels like. Now, if you're doing this 100% correct, that's actually what's gonna happen. But I already know my mistake, so I'll tell you it ahead of time. I pipe going into it, which means my head goes this way, which the more it goes that way, the uglier your flip is gonna look. So you actually wanna try to avoid bringing your head towards the back. You wanna try to keep your head in line, but I already know mine doesn't. So I'm doing the best I can though to keep my head on this line while this leg starts backwards. Head's going down as my leg comes up, and then you simply jump and keep your legs where they are. My right leg will stay behind me. If you're flipping sideways, like this, like you're spinning, then it's gonna come out like tornado kick and your right leg will come down side to side. If you're going straight, your leg will come down from the back, which is what your goal is. So I'll demonstrate one. I can't do it slow, unfortunately. So it'll look something like here. And with a swing through, see if I can actually do this somewhat decent. Nope. My raise is not good enough to do that. I haven't practiced it for a while, but let's see how close my assistant can get to this.
So,
It's a really upside down tornado kick.
okay.
Without a kick. Hey, it's the right idea. One of the things that kind of helped me at the beginning was practicing this. So let's try this drill. You're gonna step forward and then just practice right here. You kick your left leg behind you, like a hook kick, and then follow your foot around. Here. And what that helps me do is it helps keep my right leg behind me, so I don't land as much like this. And if I drill that, I'll get my swings back with a raise, because a lot of what I do wrong is with my hips as well as upper body. So I focus a lot on my upper body, but the hip part, if I fix the hips, most of the time it will fix the upper body by itself if I just focus on that. So you can practice that drill. We're gonna go ahead and add the touchdown. Touchdown is easier and harder at the same time. It's harder only because of your mind. So you're trying not to put your hand down, even though you're supposed to put your hand down. So we're afraid to go upside down. That's what it is. So it's kind of like back tuck. The thing that stops you is your fear of it. So you can't be scared. If you scared, S-K-U-R-D, D-D-D, scared, D-D-D-D. If you lots of skirted it, then you're not going to be able to do it. So being afraid of a technique is not necessarily the bad thing. You just have to be able to push through it. There are a lot of moves that I'm afraid to do going into it, but I commit to it. And the more I do it, the more comfortable I get. When you start to know where you are in the middle of the flip, you don't get lost. You know where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to move your hand. And now you're only thinking about going harder and faster, right? So I need to commit to this. I'm going to start my hand, same way. I'm still doing a raise. But my head has to stay low to the ground like it did a second ago. And I need to reach my left hand. Now to make this look good, your arm needs to come here. Straight up, over, and back. If your arm goes here, flat, instead of up, you're going to be really sideways when you throw your touchdown raise. Which, once again, my touchdown raise, as I said at the beginning, is not very good. It is, however, good enough that I can throw stuff out of it. And the people that I teach to do this typically throw it a lot better than me. Right? So my ability to teach this move has, up till now, not been hindered by my ability to do it. So hopefully, my demonstration will be enough for you to see what I'm talking about. But I need to look at the ground, and then I need to feel my head go down as this leg goes up. But for me, I feel my head go down by bending this knee a little bit more. And I want to act like I'm going to touch the ground with this hand. All right, so if you do that motion, it really helps keep your head down, as long as your leg is already on its way up. If you do this one, hand and then leg, you're going to stand up and you're never going to get your hand up. I need my leg going up at the same time. See here. Now this hand's going to miss, so don't actually put it down. This hand's going to miss, this hand's going to come up and over, and you're going to put your left hand on the ground. My head will then snap around. So once again, it should feel like I never lose sight of the ground. I'm gonna go here and snap. When I snap, I should be upside down, essentially making it so I'm still looking at the same space. I step a little bit further, try to get lower, start this leg early, do my best to demonstrate what it looks like right now. All right, so it's obviously not that great. If it was better, my right leg wouldn't hit the ground as early. But the main thing that I'm focusing on right now is getting my left hand to the ground. So for me personally, that's the only thing I'm worried about is from the very beginning, I'm putting this hand on the floor. And if you're thinking of it like that, you have a lot better chance to do it. If you're thinking about not falling, you're probably gonna stand back up, which I imagine is what most of you guys are gonna do at the beginning. So give you one more walk through, step, hand, legs coming up at the same time, and I'm gonna try to get my hand to the ground well before my left leg, which is why mine wasn't that great a second ago. One more time, here. And as you can see, it gives you a ton of momentum. If you figure out how to do touchdown raise, this is the cheat code to every swing move. By far, the easiest swings to throw are out of this setup that I've done. The hard part is the setup itself. Once you have the setup, throwing swings out of it is like cheat codes. All right, so let's see how close Miss Smith can get.
My screaming inside right now. Alright, so.
Don't worry about it looking good. Just try to commit to getting your left hand
It's gotta, yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of.
Oh, all right, you got the right idea.
Came up with something.
Yeah, you got the right idea. We had a little bit of chicken in it. So that's what most of you guys are gonna look like at the beginning. Maybe not as good as Miss Smith, because your legs actually did pretty close to the correct thing. It was the upper body. Make sure your legs and hand go down at the same time. First hand. And then you throw it fast like that, and you'll be on your left hand before you even feel yourself start to come down.
Okay.
So if you miss, you want it to be because you jumped too high, not because you stood up. Try it again. Leg up. Oh, that was close. It was foot hand. You did touch the ground that time.
Yeah.
Hands got to go even further. Feel like you're doing a back bend. So if you have back flexibility, can you still back bend? Well, I can't, so don't get your hopes up. The more flexibility you have in your back and shoulders, the better this will be. Because you finish as much of this as you possibly can finish before you actually jump. So you'll be, I have a video of my friend Zay throwing this move, and this is normally what I use for demonstration. I don't use me for obvious reasons. I use him. And because I have his in slow motion, you can see his hand is about this far off the ground before his plant leg actually leaves the floor. So it shows you just how late the jump is and how far he's stretching to get his arm back there. And he has some of the cleanest, most beautiful techniques I've ever seen, especially out of this setup. So when it comes to swing setups and stuff, that's the person that I emulate. I'm not gonna upload that video because I can't do that live. But anybody who's trained this move with me has seen that video. Let's give it a couple more attempts. And we got one more trick for y'all.
Not great.
Commit to it. Lift your left leg higher. Cartwheel. This is cartwheel. Gonna go upside. Don't try not to go upside down. Try to actually go upside down. Very similar back handspring, but easier. Leg up. Oh, you stopped. You started like you were like, wait a minute. It's scary. It's scary. All right. So the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna try to get Miss Smith to throw a gainer. All right. Now, I used J-step just now. J-step is probably my favorite setup. Any of these, there's only 2 times where I go straight over the top. All right, keep this in mind. That is, actually, I guess there'd be 3 times. So out of pivot, I go straight over the top. Straight forward, which this is the hardest way to do it, I go straight over the top. And for whatever reason, out of B-twist, I go straight over the top. Which doesn't actually make sense to me. But anything that makes you turn, like J-step setup, I I try my best not to fight the setup. All right, that's huge. So maybe I'll do swings next week. Depends on how my knees do. But just since we're doing all of these setups are set up to do swing techniques out of, we're gonna do scoot into gainer. And because scoot has this rotation, the key thing at the beginning is not to fight that rotation. So I'm not gonna try to stop and straighten up, where if I do that, it's almost like I'm just throwing a gainer from here because you lose the momentum from the scoot. So if my swing continues over here, I'm just gonna take my gainer up facing this way instead of straight, like that. All right, so that's what's gonna give you maybe a little bit of a diagonal. The difference between cheat gainer and this is gonna be your shoulder position and your head position. So my leg is gonna go over my head, and I'm gonna look back like this. Now if you look sideways, you notice your shoulders will also turn sideways. That's what makes it a cheat gainer. So if you're doing that, which is, unfortunately I cannot do that on my right leg. I can do it on my left, but I can't do it on the main leg I swing. But if you do it like that, that is the best way to set up for cork and moves like that. So you want to practice that. And if you can throw both, you're even better. So we're going to work for cheat gainer for Miss Smith, and we're going to start from standing, which is going to be start with your foot on the line. This is the easiest way I have found to get a little bit of recognition, because the normal swing forward, if my head goes forward with it, it kind of gets rid of the motion that I want. What I want is I want to start my left leg on this line, and I want to end up behind the line. So I'm going to start swinging my legs and my arms at the same time, just to get muscle memory, but I'm going to keep my head behind the line, and I'm going to look backwards. Remember, we're going for cheat gainer, so look sideways, not up, and your shoulders will turn sideways when you do this. If you stay like this, you're going to go upside down, which if you land straight gainers right off the bat, great. Do it. That's how I do them anyway. But for this drill, we're going to swing our arms out, we're going to look sideways, and we're going to go behind the line we're standing on. Pow, just like that. All right, try that. Switch.
Yeah.
Do you want to jump to your right foot? Yep, that's it. Try that again. That's the whole drill right there. All right. Once I start to get comfortable with how my legs work, what I want to try to do is I want to try to lock my hips. Now, most of the time when we throw this, you fall because you're going to flatten out. And because I'm flat, meaning, and I'm jumping that way, my feet aren't going to go the same direction I am. So practice this in grass or mats, a place where you can roll after you land. So I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to swing my leg a little bit higher, so about belt level, and my left leg is going to lock in place, meaning it's never going to catch up, and it's never going to square up. So once I get to here, I'm going to stay like that, like somebody just froze my hips in place. You can't go where I pull my leg further back or anything like that. I want to just feel like this leg does everything and I'm just following it. So up about chin height, and typically want to just fall and roll out of it. All right, let's see if you can do that one. Okay, let's take your head for that one. Travel this way. You want to go from where you are. You're going to try to look over your shoulder at me. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Try one more. We can get you upside down today. Yeah, now, what you'll notice, with Miss Smith's legs, her legs are starting to scissor further and further every time she's doing it. So now that we've got the legs down, the only thing you really need to do now is start swinging your leg a little higher, and a little higher. I don't try to throw my head underneath my legs, right, like a touchdown raise. I try to throw my hips over my head, meaning the higher your head starts, the higher the flip is going to be. So if my head is this high, when I leave the ground, I have that much space. But if I drop my head all the way down to here before I jump like this, you're inches off the ground. So you're not going to have that much time. You might be upside down, which obviously is the goal, but you're not going to have that much time to land your flip. So you want to make sure that your head is as high as you can keep it. It's not going to be up here. It's not going to be to your full standing, like standing tuck, because I'm leaning as I swing this leg up. So don't worry about that part. You just don't want to overdo it where you jump really late. When you jump really late, you'll turn too far and it won't look like a gainer or a cheat gainer anymore. It'll look more like an aerial. So let's see if I can do my bad leg, because this is the only side I can kind of do this motion on. All right, so that's my bad side's cheat gainer. I can gainer switch on this side, which I just uploaded that video a couple days ago, or maybe it was last night. But I haven't done that for, well, since I first tore my Achilles. That's why I was throwing it. My Achilles was torn. So it's been a year at least. But the main idea is keep the technique leg higher every time. So let's try 3. Higher every time. Start at belt, then stomach, then shoulder, then head. Belt. All right. Throw your arms a little bit more with it. All right. Now you gotta make sure your head go opposite. Yeah. Don't let your head go forward. Yeah. Look backwards at me. Don't go this way. That's gonna make you go straight upside down. Look. Yeah. There you go. Well, I mean, you can. You want to go straight over the top. That's the way I prefer. That one's gonna look better, but it's harder. Well, I don't know if it's harder, it's scarier. Higher swing. So don't try to jump higher. Jumping higher is not the key. Swinging higher is. It's always about how high you are before you leave the ground. How high this is before you leave the ground. When I say swing with the jump, I mean I want my leg to continually rise. So if I jump too late, my leg will stop, and then it has no momentum. So if I do just a normal jump with my arms, I probably came off the ground about right here, but my arms kept going. So that's kind of what I'm trying to time. You don't want to go like, and then, so that pause kind of gets rid of that swing motion. You want that swing to continue. Get one more, and we're going to try that at scoot. And we're done for the day. Well, they're done for the day. I'm not. Swing and jump. Hey, that looked like you were about to do it. And then a little bit of chicken came out. So to do the actual gainer, you have to man or woman up. Courage is misunderstood as lack of fear, and it's not. If you haven't heard the famous quote, it's the existence of fear, but still the willingness to press on. So with the looming doom over my head, where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die going upside down, I still have to commit to the move. So it doesn't mean I'm not afraid of the move, it just means the fear is not going to stop me from throwing this as hard as I can. And so what you have to do is the thing that you are afraid to do, the thing that makes it the trick, which is go upside down. That's what we're afraid to do. And the first time you do this, you're probably going to fall. And you're going to realize that you're not hurt. Not only are you going to realize that, but you're going to know what it feels like to go upside down. So if you've ever seen me do a new trick for the first time, most of the time I go, all right, let me get this crash out of here. Or if you've seen me warm up a trick with a crash mat, and I fall on purpose all the time so I can feel what that move feels like. It gives me the ability to commit to a technique, pull it the way that I want to pull it, feel what it's like to go upside down, and also feel what it's like to fall. And then, once I stop having that fear of falling, I know I'm going to land like this. I know if I land gainer and I fall over, I'm simply going to sit down and roll out of it. Because I normally jump high enough and rotate fast enough. Now, if I under-rotate, I'm going to land toes and knee. But for slant gainer, really not going to under-rotate this direction. You're probably going to sit back because it's sideways, right? So you want to make sure that you get that first crash out of the way. This is never more apparent than it is during swings. So if I'm doing scoot, swing gainer is the absolute easiest swing to start with. It is still a swing move though. Swing move means you're doing a flip out of another technique, without your leg touching the ground. So V-twist swing, cork swing, it means you're doing a move and then swinging into another move, continuous motion. So scoot gives you the most amount of control going into this while still giving you power. The biggest thing that you have to do is you have to pull the trigger. So we'll start off with the first step, and we're going to do, let's say 3. And we're going to take it up every time. The first step is the normal turn that we did with our foot on the line, which would be this. And continuing that motion sideways is much easier out of scoot. You notice it gives me momentum. So I didn't have to try to go that way. I just swing my leg up and just follow it. Go ahead. All right, try to look. Where you going? Try one more. As soon as this foot passes your leg, look where you're going. Slow down the scoot just a little bit.
Yeah.
The higher it goes, the slower it goes. So if I want to throw gainer, I'm trying to go straight. I want to go a little bit higher. And you have to wait. So this is why it's important, because swing moves don't just come with throwing a hard technique. It comes with a lot of timing. So it takes power moves and turns them into finesse. Like the mixture of both. I need the power to jump and do whatever flip I'm doing, but I also need the timing to make sure that I'm using the scoot as a springboard. So if I'm not landing with my left leg under me, you land it really far behind, it's hard to stand up. If I'm not turning my scoot all the way around to where I land facing this way and I'm landing facing this way, it's difficult, which a couple of you guys that have worked with me recently have run into that issue. Or if I jump too late. So if you swing your leg up but you don't jump on time. So I need to make sure that my scoot timing is correct first, and then I can focus on the flip. Let's get one more. Scoot, swing. That's better. All right, so now we swing the leg higher. And this requires me to wait just a little bit longer. So I'm going to bend my leg just a little bit more and feel this kind of down and up. This is the one that's going to go a little bit more flat. So most of the time accompanied with a fall and a roll. I'm just going to roll out of it. Be here. Swinging the leg just a little bit higher. Follow the leg. Yeah, it's your hand. Keep your hand a little closer. You're all right.
Frustrated.
This is not a beginner move, by the way.
No. No.
Alright, so that's still 0-1. But that's because you're scoot. You're scooting. And then for the last one, I'm actually going to do the standing up, which is how I told you I prefer it. I'll do it out of hook kick so you can see why. Because I prefer to have kind of like a touch and go feel. So I want to be able to hit left, right. My hands kind of go same timing as if I was to cartwheel, left, right, this way. Except, this leg's going to come back up. And then as soon as this hand goes, this leg is pushing. So it feels like the entire thing is going faster and faster and faster. If you've ever jumped on a trampoline, the first jump is not the highest jump. Every jump gets progressively higher. And that's kind of what I feel like with my combos, or what I want my combo to feel like. I want to feel like each move makes the next move faster. So, hook scoot, my hook's going to go moderate speed, scoot's going to go a little faster, and the gainer I can pretty much sleepwalk through because of the first two. Alright, and the not putting my leg down for the scoot is what allows that to keep going. If I put my leg down, it comes to a complete stop. Like, it just doesn't look good, right? So I want to be able to go from here and just keep going rather than slow myself down by touching the ground. Okay? Try one more scoop gainer, and then mess around for 5 minutes. Hey! The only thing you needed to do there was throw a gainer.
Yeah.
You landed here. Good swing. Gotta do the scary part. Alright, so that's your extra. Transitions was the main. Give you a little bit extra. We'll throw down for about 5 minutes. I will see if I can actually swing any of these transitions. The raise, I already proved to myself I can't. But touchdown, maybe. If you guys know my history, which I imagine you're not watching this if you don't know me. So you all know that the many injuries I've recovered from, and the biggest one is not the double knee surgery, still the Achilles, is why I stopped throwing touchdowns or swing moves in general. So my left leg is really weak, and my technique is off. So you need either strength to power through bad technique, or good technique. When you have neither, it's gonna look sloppy like mine. But I wanna work swing 9, so I'll try to throw swing 9 out of all of these. Anybody who's been around me lately knows that swing 9 has been like the bane of my existence. Used to be my favorite move, but for some reason I struggle with it now. So we'll throw a couple. We'll start with Scoot. We'll see if Miss Smith can throw, I don't know, Peter Pan out of as many combos as you can. Or maybe some slant gainers. Maybe we can try aerial.
Oh God.
Do aerials. Alright, let's start with Scoot swing 9. Let's see if I can kick this way. That's my only goal, is to kick this way. Nope. I kicked the guy over there. And my coordination is so far off. I get up and I spot and I just spin as hard as I can. I used to go 1, then I would straighten this leg, 2, and then I'd bend it back, 3, and I had enough time to think about all that going. Bam, 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 is what it felt like. Now I just feel like, pull it! Alright, throw something. Alright, do butterfly real quick. Okay, so we're going to turn that into an aerial. The only thing you're going to do different is you're not going to dip your upper body. So instead of going in that circle, you're going to keep you still dip this up. It still feels very much like a butterfly. But I feel like I'm just slingshotting my ear to my right hip. So, like that. Don't put your hands down! Y'all saw that, right? What the heck? Take your glasses off. And don't put your hands down.
That looks good. That looks good.
Jay know what he's talking about. Just listen to me.
So different about that. Line is a bat.
Just feel it. There! That didn't even look hard. That didn't even look hard. It's over the top and all of that. She gonna watch that part of the video over 20 times
I felt like
now.
I landed like right here too. So I felt like I landed.
You landed
In
high.
your room.
Alright. What's the next setup? Cart kick. Cart kick swing 9. Because I did such a lovely job of hitting swing 9 out of Scoot. It's the 9. It's not the cart kick. That's the 9. It's like I swing and then just everything goes pickle. I don't have the. We'll throw one more. I don't even know where I am. I'm not spotting anything. I'm just grab, hope. This is not the way to do this. Oh, oh God. So y'all saw the samplers and thought I was good, huh? That's editing. That's editing. Alright, what else you got?
I don't got much.
Do you still have your back handspring?
Yes. Kind of. I haven't done it on the straight floor. I've done it on the
Alright,
track
I'll
mat.
start you.
Back handspring?
Yeah. That was easy. Gotta push a little harder.
Yeah.
That's shrunk.
My wrists have been over the years.
Oh yeah, I feel that. That's one of the main reasons I never did. I stopped doing back handspring because my shoulder actually, but yeah, handspring in general I don't like. They hurt. All right, last one. We'll go touchdown swing. I'm not gonna try raise. Touchdown, swing 9, and if I can do a touchdown, swing 9 will be easy. But as we all saw earlier, technique's a little iffy. That's the sideways one, don't do that. That was complete, like it's a good example of what not to do, that's why I did it. So I wanted to show y'all that's what you don't do. As good as gonna get today. Everything sucks. Alright, join us next week where I will do my best to teach you guys how to do some swings. So, swing 9, as you saw that I can't do. Yeah, I'm gonna show you how to do what I can't do. Gainer, I'll give you more in-depth drills on how to practice it safely. Maybe cork. I don't really have any special tricks for cork, so we'll see what I got. Starting next week. In the meantime, we're gonna work out at 1 o'clock every day. Tomorrow's techniques, Friday stretching. See you then. Deuces.